And welcome to another RSR. Tonight I'm reviewing Atlanta United FC 4, Toronto FC 2, MLS 2022 Match 31. And that's the nail. Unless there's a miracle situation where Toronto FC wins out and Orlando and Cincinnati and Columbus just lose out, our season's over. Our season is done. We are finished. We are kaput. It doesn't really matter. We're not mathematically eliminated, but we are coincidentally eliminated. This team gave up. This was a give-up game. They just said, no, we're not going to fight. We'll give up. First half didn't start out that way. They give away a penalty. Luis Arujo takes it, saved by Quentin Westberg. Very similar to the 2019 Eastern Conference Final save on Josef Martinez. Very, very similar. And you think, okay, this game might just go our way. And no. We can't clear the ball. We lose the midfield battles. And luckily, we get to the half 0-0, which is actually pretty shocking. But the game turns on its head. And sometimes it turns a bit more positive. But it just was a roller coaster ride all the way through. And in the 47th minute, right after half time, there is a corner for Atlanta. Ball crossed in. Juan Jose Purata heads it in. Banger of a header. Basically double jumps Lucas McNaughton. I can't get mad at it. It wasn't an open header. But Purata gets one, makes it 1-0 in the 47th minute. But 3 minutes later, Ayo Akinola has a great run. Jesus Jimenez passes the ball to him. Ayo rounds the keeper, Raul Gudinho, and rolls the ball into the net, makes it 1-1. The game should have really been 2-1 by then because we should have had a penalty in the first half for a handball and the push on Bernardeschi. Should have had it, but we do get it back later on, and it doesn't matter. Should have been 4-3, but again, doesn't matter. 62nd minute, another header goal off a corner for Juan Jose Purata. This is honestly turning into history. I've never seen two headed goals by the same player in one game, and we'll get to the next thing. But it's 2-1, another header, another banger of a header by Juan Jose Purata. But 5 minutes later, again, Toronto FC gets a penalty. Jesus Jimenez taken out top of the box. They give the penalty. They don't even check it this time. They're like, yeah, we kind of have to give this one to Toronto. Federico Bernardeschi takes it. Gudinho goes to the left. Bernardeschi goes to the right. Opposite sides. Banger of a penalty. 2-2 for this match. And then Thiago Almada, about 8 minutes later, Thiago Almada, banger of a goal, top corner, way too high. Westberg could do nothing about it. I'm not mad about it. It was a banger of a goal. That's not on Toronto. 3-2. And then in the 88th minute, Juan Jose Purata, another corner, another header goal. He got a hat trick off of headers. I've never seen that before in my life. That is history. This man is Al Snow. He loves headers. This man is Al Snow. He loves headers. I don't know. 4-2. Atlanta United. That's the way the game would end. Stats are as follows. 27 shots to 8. 10 shots on goal to 3. 54% possession to 46% possession. 396 passes to 350. 81% pass accuracy to 79. 14 fouls to 13, 1 offside to 0, 4 yellow cards to 3, 0 red cards to 0, and 11 corners to 4. And 3 of those were goals. With that being said, Atlanta, they played a great game. They were the better team. They were the better executing team. Toronto, when they went forward well. I'm not mad about the way Toronto played. In the end, they did sort of give up, but they still didn't look horrible. They still didn't look... The paper's here for a reason. We'll get there. They didn't look bad. They just let Atlanta execute more. Atlanta executed better, and the heavens are crying because we lost. You see what you did, Toronto? You can hear that. I know you can. It's not my fault. I can't control Mother Nature. I can't control Mother Nature. With that being said, though, you know what? There's a paper pop for that. A Josh Pate-style paper pop for that. With that being said, my word, this game just was a complete give-up game. That's what this felt like. This felt like Toronto giving up. That Montreal game, one of two things was going to happen. They were either going to come out blazing and roll Atlanta or give up, and they chose give up. And that kind of sucks. That's honestly just sad. Of course, Lorenzo Insigne wasn't there due to a family situation. I'm not going to speculate on what it was. He wasn't there, but all the other big players were there besides Oso. We should have been able to handle it. And honestly, Achara should have started. And Jesus Jimenez. Nelson sucks at the wing. He really does. He could sort of play midfield. That's how his better games have been, was in the midfield. But as a wing player, he sucks. He sucks. And we've known this for a while now. But with that being said, let's do another Josh Pate style paper pop before we get on. Yes, that's how I feel about this game. If you watch Late Kick with Josh Pate, you'll get the joke. If you don't, well, watch Late Kick. It's the best college football show out there. I just got to say that. But with that being said, that's coming from me. As in, I just believe that. That's coming from me. Nobody paid me. With that being said, TFC, this game was a joke. Absolute joke. They gave up. They didn't care. Once they went down, it's like, yeah, we have no chance. They were like, maybe we'll draw this, but we're not going to win this. They had that sort of look to them last year, you know, that sort of like popped up again. There were different moments where there were different situations or, you know, moments where it's like, this game reminds me of this year or this moment, as in last year or this game when Westberg saved the penalty. It reminded me of the 2019 Eastern Conference Final. It looked exactly like it. It looked very similar, and I'm like, oh, we may actually win this game. And they were really hyped after that, but after the first goal, they didn't get the penalty, they didn't get the red card. They were like, we sort of needed help here, and they were like, we sort of needed help here, and they didn't give it. They just started deflating like a bad souffle. Like the Iron Chef made a trash souffle. It just flopped. Situation is, right? And then ever since the first goal, it was just absolutely curtains. They tried to tie it up, but they didn't think they could win. And you could see it. That gave me some 2020 vibes. They're like, let's at least draw. But even a draw, we knows it. It's over. Pretty much. Even they knew it. We all know it. And that's the sad part. It's like, they came up too short. Yes, we had a pretty deep run this season compared to last year. We got to the last 3 games of it before the last 3 games where it didn't matter. And it still technically does matter until the mathematical elimination comes down, but does it really matter? No. Because this team just gave up. Orlando is better than us. Miami is better than us. Philadelphia is surely better than us. Are we going to win any of those last 3 games? Legitimately. Now that we've just given up. And that was it. That was the nail. No Champions League. No playoffs. This season, to me, was honestly a letdown. If not a failure. If not a failure. And you could say, but we didn't have the Italians till halfway. Guess what our pace was? Our form was with the Italians. Playoff making form. We have them all year. We make the playoffs. Now, there were some results that could have made this a little bit more head above water and probably half your neck too. Cincinnati, that double, losing to Chicago, the New England results, we turned one of those into wins or both. We're probably in the playoffs right now. We didn't. The New York clown show at Citi Field, we turned that to a draw. That's good. Or a win. We hold. That's great. That was a clown show, though. Could have easily turned Real Salt Lake to a win, I think, personally. Columbus Crew, earlier in the summer, at home. If we could have drawn that one. There's a lot of moments where you could look and say, this is where we lost that room. This is what ruined us. This is what hurt us. You could look at any certain match. And there's a lot of moments, pre-Italians and post, where it's like, you know what? This is where it not all went wrong, but this is one of the reasons why it went wrong. It's a freaking joke. And then the Champions League, speaking of Vancouver, the loss in the regular season, we could have made that a draw. And then losing the Champions League to Vancouver. Not Champions League, but the Canadian Championship in the Champions League spot to Vancouver. It doesn't feel good, now doesn't it? The bare minimum this season to me was get to the Champions League. Now maybe it's a good thing we didn't make it, because I feel like maybe it's a good thing we're going to miss the playoffs, because if we didn't and then fraud our way to MLS Cup, they probably wouldn't make any changes. But even then, I don't think the changes are going to be as silly season as the postseason, off-season last year, and the middle of this season. It's going to be, okay, so where could we go to get some cheaper options and maybe a DP striker that may not fire? It's not going to work. Lorea, he'll play for the second half of the season, first half of the season here, and then leave in the summer. If not, Forrest calls him back for a great World Cup, because Richie will play well. I know he will. He may not be here. By the loan, they may not call off the loan. He could be here for the first half of next year, but they could, and that would suck. And I wouldn't blame Forrest if his World Cup is so great that they do cancel the loan. And maybe he wants that. I don't know. And that's the sad part. And Crescito, is he as good as he was this year? His age can catch up quick. Insigne, I'm sure he'll be better next year. That's the one thing I'm sure of. I'm sure he'll be more in tune with his team next year than he was this second half. And he played well. He played good enough. But he wasn't the Insigne we expected. Bernardeschi, I hope he keeps his MVP form. I don't know if he will. That's the sad part. There's all those questions. This team shot themselves in the foot time after time after time, and next year might not be that much better. I don't know if this is what the team wants. Hope, and then shoot themselves in the foot. Basically being a soccer association football version of Mississippi State. Let me tell you, my friends, the parallels for both teams are not skin deep. It's a deep thing. Just watch Mississippi State play or talk to me. I'll explain it all. You want me to make a freaking hour-long video explaining the parallels of State's good era and now, and TFC good era and now? Oh, I could do it. Maybe I'll do that during like the MLS Cup and World Cup break. Maybe I will. That actually sounds like a fun video. I'm not going to lie. But with that being said, this team is a joke. This team is an absolute joke and a failure. If not a letdown, it's a failure. It has to be. What else could it be? It's a failure. And we expected Champions League at the very least. But I guarantee you one thing, and I hate to say this, but we play Leagues Cup. We go to Leagues Cup. If we don't make any changes, we're getting skull-dragged by Mexican teams. And we would have got skull-dragged in the Champions League. We think we're so great. We're not. It is what it is. It is what it is. We're a little bit of a team that it's just not the answer. We are not the answer right now, and hell, we're not even halfway through the question. And that's the sad part. Man of the match for me is Juan Jose Parado, because it's the first time I've ever seen a game where somebody got a hat trick off of all headers. As a defender, no less. Yeah, that's man of the match for me. Nobody on Toronto deserves it, because they all gave up. So with that being said, if you like this video, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification. Send super chats on the live streams, comment on this video, put some playlist, share with friends and family, all that great stuff. I'll be back on Tuesday for CONCACAF League. Alajuelense versus Alianza FC. Live and review. I'll see you then. I'm Ryan and I'm out. Peace. We got CONCACAF League and Campeones Cup coming up in the midweek. Let's have some fun with that. TFC, fade them. It's done. Even though we got 3 games left, and I'll still cover them, but they're done. Peace.